You've been coming to this inn now for quite a while, and you've learned when you come in, get your horse taken care of, clean off your boots before coming in, there's always a nice mug of ale waiting for you, as long as you follow those procedures. Hi there, I'm Dr. Megan Connell, and this is Psychology at the Table. In this episode, we're going to be talking with my friend, colleague, co-author of training and all kinds of things, Dr. B, about classical and operant conditioning at gaming. So, welcome.
Well, thank you.
All right, so for the layman's out there, classical and operant conditioning. Let's talk about what is that?
Oh boy. Classical conditioning is the whole Pavlov's dog thing, where you have something that you respond to naturally, and then you start pairing something that you don't necessarily respond to in the classic Pavlov sense. It's a bell before the food, and the dog starts salivating. Operant conditioning, which is one I tend to think of a lot more when it comes to playing role-playing games, has to do with either being rewarded or punished after you do an action. And a reward or reinforcement is anything that makes you do a behavior more, and a punishment is anything that makes you do a behavior less.
Right. So in gaming terms, too, if we think of classical conditioning would be your anxiety might go up when you hear the words roll for initiative. Right?
Well, I would actually make an argument that has more to do with operant conditioning, because it's not everybody knows to feel anxiety when they are in an imaginary fight.
True.
So that's something we learn over time. I really do think about operant conditioning a lot more when I think about tabletop RPGs.
So talk about how do you use operant conditioning at the gaming table? What are some ways that you can use that to make your gaming table better?
Well, it's important to know that from a behavioral perspective, punishment doesn't make behavior go away. I mean, it suppresses it for a while.
Right.
It can definitely suppress it for a while, but ultimately, if you want to see behavior change, now whether that's your players showing up on time, whether that is getting them to read things that the DM carefully crafts for them,
like 14-page journal documents.
14-page journal documents. I hope that some of your viewers will watch Clinical Role, because they will get the humor in that. Regardless of what the behavior is, if you can reinforce that, and you tend to, over time, see more of it at your table. And one of the things that I would really love your viewers to go away with is a better understanding that negative reinforcement is actually a good thing.
So explain what negative reinforcement is, because I think a lot of people have misconceptions about what it is.
Right. They get hung up on the whole negative thing, like it's a value, like negative being bad. But really, negative reinforcement is just, are you taking away something?
Right.
Versus positive reinforcement, are you adding something? Any reinforcer makes a behavior happen more. So if you're taking something away, negative reinforcement, a good single word for it is just relief.
Yeah.
Is it relief? And so if you've got somebody at the table who, let's say they have a negative condition on their player character, and they do the sort of in-game behavior you want to see, you might take that negative condition away and you give them some relief. So they're probably likely to do that behavior again.
Right.
Whereas positive reinforcement is, another word for it is reward. They do the kind of behavior you're looking for, you give them a healing potion.
Right.
You give them an inspiration point. They're probably going to do something similar again.
So like a good negative reinforcement might be like if a person's walking around with exhaustion and their character does something very, or the player does something you want to see, your level of exhaustion goes away.
They paid for the pizza, your level of exhaustion goes away. You take that off the DM, and
the DM is no longer hungry.
Yes, the DM is no longer hungry. And so you take that negative condition away, you give them relief, and they're probably going to be willing to pay for the pizza a little bit more often.
Right. It's like, oh, Jimmy brought snacks today. Have an inspiration dice for the day.
And that's as opposed to there is such thing as positive and negative punishment, where positive punishment is where you add an unpleasant condition. So think of it as pain, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas negative punishment, you can think of it as loss.
Right.
Somebody does something that makes you as a DM angry. Suddenly, oh, your magic weapon broke. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's too bad.
that went away.
So sad. You had an answering sword? Oh, that's too bad.
That's gone now.
Yeah.
Or it's like, you turn the corner and there's a Tarrasque in front of you.
Oops.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I think about these in helping get the kind of group behaviors that you're looking for as a DM, and players can use this too.
Yeah.
Like if your DM, you've talked to your DM, and you should have a good working relationship with your DM. There should be a give and take, and if your DM is doing something that you really like, and you start giving them some sort of praise or whatever it is that they find valuable, they're probably going to do something like that again in terms of building the story, in terms of the way they interact with the players. And so this is a two-way street. It doesn't just go in terms of shaping player behavior.
Yeah. No, I'll say, like, that's something I'm very aware of in games I play in, is to, like, when my DM's doing awesome, is to make sure I tell them, like,
Absolutely.
love what you did in the game. Like, it was amazing.
Right. You are going to get more results that you're looking for through that praise, through that reward, through that rewarding behavior than you will ever do through complaining and whining and just generally being grouchy and a pill at the table.
Well, and what's the ratio for praise to punishment? Is 4-1 or is it 5-1?
Are you talking about Gottman?
Yeah.
Oh, for marriages?
Or no, just in general. Like when for every negative comment, you need like 4 or 5.
That sounds like the Gottman thing for romantic relationships. But I mean, if we're going to extrapolate that, that's a 5-1 positive to negative ratio.
Okay, yeah. So that's where you give 5 praises and saying things that you enjoy to every 1 negative. So if it's like, I'm enjoying this, I enjoy that, I enjoy this. This one part isn't so great. I really still want to make sure we're doing these other things that I think are wonderful. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if that that was research done on marriages, and I don't know if that extends to the gaming table. But wouldn't it be great if it did?
Well, I think,
and it's a good rule.
It is, and it's a healthy thing to remember too, because anytime marital research is done, one of the ways I look at it is I just look at it as relational. And it is a relationship that the DM has with the players and the players have with each other too. And so we want to make sure that we're having a positive, good relationship, because at the end of the day, we're here to have fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's where this can come into that. I don't want your viewers to go away thinking this is how I brainwash my players.
No.
Ha, 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 ha. But this is a way that you can subtly indicate to the people around you, you're doing something I like. I would like you to continue doing that thing. Oh, you praised me? I like that. I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to praise you for that, because that was awesome. My DM, did a thing where they tracked the initiative differently, and it was much more clear to me this time. It was less confusing. It may be the fact that it's less confusing to you might be a reward to the DM, who now has to track less. But what is a reward to each person is a little different, and that's where some of the complications are.
Yeah, to figuring out, like, what is the thing that someone's going to find rewarding.
Right, because, I mean, while theoretically we don't do things repeatedly unless we get rewarded for them or unless we get reinforced for them, what reinforces each person is, it varies.
Yeah.
It varies. So maybe it's verbal feedback, verbal praise. Maybe that's your reward or your reinforcer. Maybe it's, for some people, reassurance, because that takes away the anxiety, and that's a negative reinforcer.
Right.
And so they might reach out for help more. I don't know, but you can kind of figure this out. Praise is always a good way to go, I think.
Yeah. Praise and inspiration is such an easy reward for DMs to give.
Absolutely.
To have a stack of D6s or D8s, and just when your players are doing awesome, you just hand those out.
Yeah, totally. Or, magic items, hint, hint.
Potions of wonder, hello?
Yeah.
Oh, that breaks my game so badly.
You gave them to the wrong person, hi.
The wrong person, technically the right character. Again, watch Clinical Role to get those.
Yeah.
Well, this is cool. If people are looking for more information and wanting to understand a little bit more about reinforcement, So where can they go?
Well, aside from taking a basic psych class, because
Yeah.
this is something that's taught in a lot of basic psych textbooks, a lot of intro psych textbooks, even some teaching stuff. There's a lot of great websites that if you just look up operant conditioning, you're going to get a lot of great information on that.
Cool. We'll put a couple links to some down
Sure,
there.
sure.
People. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
This
you.
was great having you here.
It's great to finally be here doing this with you.
We are in the same state.
Oh my goodness.
In the same room.
Oh my God.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And if you guys have questions or comments, please leave them below. And as always, let's make space at the table for everyone.